My Mother's Son Chapter 1. It is said that I was a precocious child. I guess it was true. Certainly my upbringing was unusually open and my erotic evolution broad-minded. I'm sure that many will say that the way I grew up was wrong, that my mother was wrong in her outlook, her view of life, and her guidance of me as a child. I myself would say none of those things. I look back on a rich and varied education and development. Every aspect of my young life seemed to guide me in the direction of being a useful, thoughtful, feeling adult. Still, I was aware even at an early age that it was different from other children. Somehow I knew that it was something to be protected, perhaps even sheltered from the eyes of others. I have no idea why that should be, since nothing was ever said about it. I just knew. My father died when I was 9 years old. Most of us grow up thinking our mothers are nearly perfect, so it was with me. She was intelligent and beautiful and perfect. After my father died, there were lots of tears and I was lonely. But, after a time, my mother's resolve and intelligence took over and we became an avowed team, dedicated to making each other's lives happy and rich with art, sport, play, everything that made life a pleasure. She loved the opera and the ballet. I came to love them too, and it seemed natural to be taken to each performance with her. The lights, the people, the music enthralled me, even then. I took piano lessons, but they didn't seem to take with me. On the other hand, Mom seemed to love the things I loved as well. She hardly ever missed a baseball game or tennis match, and encouraged me in all outdoor activities. I sensed that she really She had a very good job as an executive assistant to the president of one of the larger companies in our town, and it appears that she was very good at the job. Smart and willing to do whatever had to be done, logical and protective of the president and of the company's interests. I'm sure you have known the sort of person who succeeds in that world. That was my mom. Always immaculately and stylishly dressed, she went off to work each day and returned at night, usually with work to be done at home. She always wore a business suit or tailored dress to work, never pantsuits like I saw other moms wearing. Everything about her was feminine, the perfume, the swishing sound of her nylons as she walked or crossed her legs, the lovely drape of the white silk blouse. She seemed to know something about everything. If she didn't know, she was willing to do the research to help me find the answer. Her guidance over the years made me more and more eager for knowledge and for variety. We learned about astronomy, photography, sailing, painting, hiking, and even a little bit of fishing, though she didn't much like worms and other squirming things. She did it occasionally, but none of them ever really caught on as a regular thing. Perhaps she never really got over her first love, my father. I don't think I stood in the way of her romance, at least I hope not. But as it turned out, she never remarried. On the other hand, in spite of the loss of a father and husband, we had, I think I speak for both of us, a happy family life. We too. I wouldn't be writing this at all, nor having all these thoughts at this time, if it hadn't been for finding her diary as I closed up my mother's house after her recent death. I stopped just inside the front door and looked around the silent great room, and the memories of childhood flooded over me. Here after Dad's funeral I had heard all that advice, starting with, "You'll have to be the man around here now, Charlie. I'm sure you can handle it. You're a big boy now. Watch after your mother." All those sad faces of well-intentioned relatives. And then they were gone. And then it was just the two of us. I wandered aimlessly around the house at first, touching long-remembered furniture, small sculptures, picture frames, then started a cup of coffee. I found myself in her bedroom and tears came to my eyes for a few moments as the memories flowed over me, clutching at my gut. All these things to be disposed of. I slid drawers open at random, then closed them. The familiar scent of long-remembered perfumes found me. I recalled with mixed emotions the day at about age 10 that her panty drawer had interested me. I slid the deep drawer open and let my fingers slide over the silken treasures. She had really loved pretty things. Pretty underwear, lovely nightgowns, luxurious stockings, and I had loved them too, I remembered. Still do. I said sardonically to the vacant house. Another drawer held mostly brassieres and garter belts, and I smiled at the fact that she had sometimes worn old-fashioned stockings and garter belts long after pantyhose had supplanted them. "You're still a sexy lady in my book, Ma." I don't know who I was talking to, just entertaining myself, I guess. I held up a brassiere and recalled how her breasts had looked in these pretty things. Her breasts were rather large, not big and floppy, just full and firm. The bra looked like a second skin holding their soft treasures, and even constrained by the material, they would sway slightly when she moved. At age 9, I had only just noticed how attractive they looked when her blouse gaped open and I glanced down to see the cleavage and the lovely swell captured under nylon cups. I was attracted and curious, but it wasn't quite sexual, just the first stirrings of sex raising its head, perhaps. They looked warm and the fabric I dropped the bra back in the drawer and started to turn away. Then I recalled that there had been a diary. I rummaged a little. Nothing. I reopened the deep, fragrant panty drawer and slipped my hands down through the lace and nylon. At the bottom, my fingers found a thick volume, then another. I didn't recall there being two. A little further and my fingers started a vibrating dildo running. I pulled it out and switched it off. The fact the batteries were still live amused me. Even at age 67, Mom had retained a healthy sexuality. As I returned the dildo to its proper place, I found yet another diary buried beneath the heaps of panties. I thumbed through the first book, which held many relatively short entries interspersed with longer, more detailed personal entries back over the years. As I read a few passages about my father and mother's courting days, I felt as if I were prying, and closed the book. The second volume began shortly after the funeral and I was more comfortable reading it. Brief notes about finding the job, feelings expressed loneliness. There were comments about me, the fun we had at an amusement park. I won second in a tennis tournament at camp, growing up fast. I smiled at the prideful comments of a mother. Then I stopped short. Maybe we have to stop baths together, soon. But not yet. A cryptic comment full of electricity. I would have been 11, I noticed by the date on the entry. I lay back on the bed and thought about it.